I am proud of being deaf. It's my identity. I am a Black, deaf, queer woman. Absolutely, I'm confident in my identity. But of course, my decolonization process will continue till the day that I die. Yes.
I am a deaf artist and filmmaker.
I want hearing people to be aware of the fact that language is not only voicing and speaking, but in fact also sign language is part of language. And growing up, I had no access to sign language, and I struggled with trying to express myself, um, you know, and finally feeling confident with what I learned with sign language is I felt confident in myself. I felt that I was able to understand myself and express myself more effectively.
Sign language is not universal, no. There are different sign languages in America, Canada, Europe, Australia, Asia. I learned ASL, American Sign Language, but ASL deprived me of my original language, BASL, Black American Sign Language, which I should have known. BASL developed in the United States back when schools were segregated. White schools used ASL. The difference is that ASL has a smaller signing space. It's a little bit more prim and proper, whereas Black ASL developed to be bigger, bolder, joyful, confident, strong, and fierce. I've loved learning Black ASL, but ASL deprived me of my original language. I love that boldness, that sass, and that confidence and joy when signing. It's fun, not this sort of stiffness. Nah.
Growing up, I always felt like I had the best of both worlds, hearing world and deaf world within me. I was able to express myself both through sign and speaking. But I can get frustrated. It's not always perfect. I don't always catch everything. It really depends on who I'm talking to. So sometimes I wish I had a way to connect more and know people more. I wish that people would ask me more questions, talk to me more, not just, oh, she's deaf, I'll leave her alone. I felt, that's why I sometimes get frustrated.
I used hearing aids up until I was 24 years of age. I stopped because it was very frustrating and isolating to have hearing aids. And it was a lot of work for me. I felt like I had to, quote unquote, act normal and assimilate into the hearing world. And so when I decided to stop, essentially I felt a sense of freedom. And I didn't have to depend on lip reading or, quote unquote, hear any longer. Like, I could speak for myself, so to speak, not, lip reading and not expressing myself that way, but actually to use sign. And I feel like it's kind of lazy on hearing people's parts that they expect that of us, expect that of me. And I felt that situation was worse for me. But after I removed my hearing aids, I felt like a belonging in the deaf community. My deaf identity and deaf sense of pride became more prevalent, and I feel very confident about that.
Sign language is still here. It's real. It exists in the world. You can't ignore it. You can't continue to be ignorant and think of it as weird or push it away because it's embarrassing or be afraid of the deaf identity. You want to push away that identity, push away deaf people and their language with their skin, with their passions, goals, and beliefs in their language. Language is how we communicate, how we express ourselves and interact. And if you exclude us, if you don't support us and don't recognize our language as valuable, we lose our identity. We become isolated, and it's not fair. Language is always there, spoken and visual language. They should work together, respect each other, share with each other, not exclude and divide.
Now that I've stopped lip reading and stopped trying to listen and to hear, I ask hearing people to either write messages to me or text for me. And I feel like I'm more empowered in life, have more energy. I feel more successful in how I interact with my family and other people.
I enjoy reading lips. It's like having a superpower. Reading lips has many benefits. But not all deaf people like to read lips. You have to make sure how to accommodate them in the best way. My preference is to have interpreters for meetings, work, Zoom, or large groups. Please have interpreters. I can't read all those lips at the same time. But if I go out with hearing friends one-on-one, no problem. I usually enjoy reading lips, and a few of my friends really appreciate and cherish the knowledge of how to talk to me and include me. So it really depends on the person. For example, the way I speak, I don't share the sound of my voice until later. I start by saying a few words and see how it goes and judge how they react to my voice. If they react well, then I start to be more comfortable sharing my voice more. The more it goes well, the more I will share. However, if it doesn't go well, I feel uncomfortable sharing my voice more. I will maybe share it a little and be distant. So yeah, again, it always depends on the person.
Please respect our deaf community, including people of different skin tones and different languages, some of which have been oppressed by ASL. It's true. Luckily, some languages have been preserved, like Black ASL in the United States. That language has been preserved since the 1960s, I assume since the school system was segregated. Older Black deaf generations, some who have passed and some still living, remember Black ASL, especially from the South, luckily. I learned Black ASL much later in life, which I should have learned from age 1 and up. Then it would have been a part of who I am and my identity, but ASL deprived me of the chance to learn my own language. My African background, my Blackness, they are missing from my language. ASL, American Sign Language, is recognized worldwide. It's proud and powerful and privileged. But where is the regard for our language's origins? We can't erase history and just replace it with the single story of ASL. No, please respect our lost languages. I'm really excited about learning Black ASL, but I wish it was a part of me along with African Sign Language. I don't feel lucky per se, but I feel blessed because I've had the opportunity to learn Black ASL and African Sign Languages, which means it's never too late to learn. If you were deprived of your natural sign language, you can go back and learn it just like I did.
I'm blessed because I have the island community, art community, and the deaf community.
I feel that lip reading is not full access. For me, it's not. Maybe for different individuals. For example, I could only understand about 60 to 70%. And sadly, my family never learned ASL for me, a sign language. So it's heartbreaking because I've had to rely on lip reading and that type of communication. And finding the deaf community and finding and discovering ASL, without that, I was feeling lonely and depressed. And finally having that access to communication has really, really benefited me.
You think reading lips is perfect? No, of course it's not. The interesting part about it is that people have different accents, tones, and volumes. In my case, when reading people's lips, I feel like they have what I call as lip accents, because their lip movements are always different. Sometimes I can't read it. Sometimes I can read it and it's very clear they have the perfect lip movements, but sometimes it's not. Like, for example, if you have a long mustache, then it's really tough, of course. So yeah, lip accents. Some lip movements I just can't read, while others are good. And then there are some that are just okay lip movements and I can catch half of it. It's always different every time. At this point, you need to give me some time to get used to their lip movements. This definitely happens when I first meet someone I wouldn't understand. Well, actually, it's more like I'm not aware of the way they talk and what their lip movement is. I need time to analyze the movements, and then I will get to know how to talk to this person. My frustration is that people rarely give me enough time for this, so I don't get a chance to connect with people. Usually they stop when I can't understand them and get frustrated and give up.
They saw me differently because I use a visual language. Does that mean I'm some kind of alien? Yeah, I am an alien. I'm an alien. I touched down from beautiful Mars.
Get to know me, and I'll get to know you. There are many ways to communicate, like using a phone notes, paper, pen, or other ways.
My parents were born in Ghana, and when I went back to visit, I assumed Ghana would have its own sign language, which I was excited to see. But to my surprise, they used ASL. I was like, where is our original Ghanaian sign language?
Every once in a while, I find myself wanting connection. There are times when I'm in a bigger crowd with family and friends, I find myself getting sad. Because they sometimes don't acknowledge that I'm there. They don't look over to see me. If they did, it would make things easier. Just make sure that I'm included. Make sure that you acknowledge my presence. Look over, check on me, that I'm able to read lips. Sometimes it would be nice to be asked a question so I can feel more connected. I have a few close friends that I'm connected with and able to talk to. Usually it's harder when it's like in a big group. But I do love big gatherings. It can be fun and challenging. However, again, it takes them to really make sure that they remember my presence. I'm sitting in the room with you guys. Sometimes it does end up one-on-one or two-on-one. That's nice. There are days when I feel sensitive about it. Feel frustrated. But it happens once in a while. Most of the time, I enjoy my time. Like I said, best of both worlds.
If you can envision my language, it's deeply visual. You'll see my hands all the time.
Language is really fascinating. There are like waves that come together or clash when it doesn't work. Like a wave, it can be unexpected and never predictable.